Attentive teaching, advocating calm, cultivating resilience.
Hi, this is Cindy Schwartz. It's a Sunday night, and you are wondering, how can you make tomorrow's class more interesting? How can you get your kids to be excited about the topic you'll be teaching? How can you psych yourself up for the lesson? Because if you're not enthusiastic about the lesson, how can the kids be excited about the lesson? Today, we'll provide you with some easy, practical, and creative ways to help you motivate your kids at the beginning of class, regardless of grade level or subject matter. Just simply tailor each suggestion to the needs you have on your subject and the ages of your kids. Consider starting your class with one of the following. How about a poem? Maybe use The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. That could motivate a major discussion about the different paths in life that are ahead for us and what happens if we choose one path over another. Certainly any age group could understand that concept. Maybe start your class with a song, something like Let It Be by the Beatles, about acceptance. That would be an interesting discussion. You could start your class with a probing question, maybe something existential like, what do we have in common as human beings? Younger kids could definitely respond to that question. And for upper level kids, maybe ask something like, are there absolutes in life? And that could motivate the class and move them into a direction of interesting conversation and participation. You could start your class with an interesting painting, maybe the American Gothic painting by Grant Wood or something by Winslow Homer. Certainly any age group would have a reaction to these paintings. Take a look at them. May I also suggest anything by Norman Rockwell if you want pure Americana art. My kids have really enjoyed his work. You could start class with a compelling photo, put right up there on your whiteboard. Perhaps use Dorothea Lange's Migrant Mother to help kids become more empathetic to migrants and the poor. Again, any age could benefit from this viewing and discussion. And how about the iconic photo of the American sailor in New York's Times Square kissing the first woman he sees after hearing that the Japanese had surrendered on August the 14th, 1945, effectively ending World War II. That's Alfred Eisenstadt's photo, by the way, and certainly kids would have quite the reaction to that picture. You could start your class by reading a story or a diary about somebody that you're studying, no matter what the subject matter is. You could start class with coloring. Introduce a topic for the day and ask your kids to draw a visualized picture of what that topic evokes in them, what they think of when they hear that topic. It's a cool way to start class. You could start class with the kids building something, any age level. They all love Legos, Lincoln Logs, erector sets, blocks, dominoes. Use them to motivate kids to visualize what they are learning. You could start class with Hangman or Bingo or Password or Jeopardy. Those are tried and true. How about drawing droodles? Look those up, or cartoons on the board. Or if you're teaching remotely, put them out there on some sort of slide. Kids would love to see that and figure out what those mean. It just brings them together and kind of motivates them to get involved and participate. You could simply start your class with asking kids, how has your day been so far? Everyone wants to talk about how they're doing. And finally, you could definitely start your class with a personal story of when you were the same age as your kids. All of these suggestions above can help motivate kids rather quickly, and again can be designed to engage kids of any age or subject matter. You know, Kevin Stein, the author, wrote something in the English Teachers Association, ETAS journal, and it was actually the ETAS journal editor's choice in May of 2017, and it was titled Shaken, Not Stirred, 7 Ways to Start Your Class Differently. And it has some additional, more unconventional ways to start class, most of which I have used with great success, so I'd like to share these with you. The author Stein says that you could start your class by not doing much of anything. Listen to what the kids in the room are talking about as they enter. Jot down what you hear them talking about and either use their conversations as a way to move away from the curriculum for a day and talk about what the kids find interesting, or find a way to weave their conversation into your lesson. Either way, they'll be engaged. Stein reminds us also that not all kids may be ready to start the lesson at the same time or in the same way. Move to where the kids are who are ready to start the lesson and say something like this: 2, 4, 6, and then choose a student near you and ask that student to say what comes next. That student will invariably say 8, and a game has begun and the rest of the class will start to join in, and you'll get them together. Don't let the students have you tell them the learning goals for the day's lesson. Have them tell you what they hope the goals are for today's lessons, and have them write, "In this class, we will learn." Maybe you'll find out some ideas that they have about what they'd like to learn. You could start the class by bringing in something that is novel. I have done this many times before. It's called the What Is That Day? Something the kids have never seen before or may have forgotten about. It's uncanny how quickly the class will come together in awe. Once I brought in a dial telephone. They were amazed at how it took so long to just dial a phone number back in the 60s and 70s before we had cell phones. I brought in a typewriter, transistor radio, silly putty, a record player one time, and the kids were beyond engaged. So much fun. The author Stein says kids need a reason, and I agree with this, to ask, what is that? Or why? Or huh? And that will engage them. They'll be curious. You could also give kids a chance at the beginning of class to rank the day's activities from what they like to do most to least. And if they don't want to do an activity, ask them to explain why, either in a chat or in the margins of the paper you give them. This activity could empower kids. It validates their need to become more independent and allows them to become more invested in class. You could do Where is the teacher today? This is a fun one. I do this a lot. Start the class by standing or sitting in another part of the room that's different from where you usually stand or sit. Mix it up. Put your chair in the middle of a circle. Have them look for you in the room. Kind of cool and definitely fun. They will be engaged. Maybe give each student a marker for the whiteboard, or ask kids to put into the chat, if you're doing this remotely, what the most important thing was that they learned in the previous lesson the day before. This activity is quite enlightening and forces kids to reflect and remember, and it lets you know what to review or not. And Stein's number one suggestion is to let kids teach the class sometimes. I have done this and it's been so successful, a winner every time. Give kids an opportunity to volunteer and give them the reins. I used to teach my kids how to write lesson plans, but you can be more spontaneous if you'd like and ask for volunteers. I hope that today's podcast has provided you with some doable, realistic class starters on how to begin your class with motivational activities that will engage and excite your students and you. Let us know if any of these tips work for you, or if you have any suggestions on what has helped you to motivate your kids at the beginning of class. Thank you so much for joining us today on Attentive Teaching. Visit us again for new podcasts that shed light on the challenges we all face in the classroom. Or visit us at attentiveteaching.com, where you can find links to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest pages. Subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcast app of choice. This has been Cindy Schwartz. Thank you so much for stopping by. I wish you a beautiful teaching day and great peace in your classroom. Join us at Attentive Talks every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, where we hold conversations with real teachers in real time to discuss real issues. If you'd like to join our weekly chat, join our private Facebook group, Attentive Talks, where we post our Zoom info. That's Attentive Talks every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Attentive Talk is a project of Attentive Teaching, where advocating calm and cultivating resilience are our number one priorities.